Today's video is all about how to be a good parent to adult children. This is something I'm learning a lot about because I don't have any kids anymore. They're all adults. All right, fellow parents of adult children, I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, a positive parenting and positive psychology specialist, and I'm in that boat with you. Stick with me through this video to get some ideas that could completely transform your relationship with your adult kids. As we get started here today, I'm going to be referring to a model that I use in our parent coaching programs, and I think it could be really useful to you as well. Just go to the URL on the screen, drpauljenkins.com/stages, and I will put a copy of this in your inbox so that you can refer to it as we have this conversation. In the model, we teach that there's an interplay between control and maturity. This is the context that we have to have when we're working with our adult kids. Because when they're little, when they're first born, when they're not very mature, we have to control their lives. And then what happens is they get a little older. Yeah, they start to take the control, whether we want to share it with them or not. See, part of our job as parents is to work ourselves out of a job so that our kids are running their own lives at some point. But this creates a dilemma for us as parents because we and they are used to us calling the shots when they're little. So the model that I was referring to helps us to see that control over our life increases as we gain maturity. But for parents, that's on the top part of this model, control decreases as our kids get older. And I'm sure that you've noticed that. This is so important to understand because most of the stress or the conflict that comes up between parents and their adult kids has to do with control. Think about it. Where does that fit for you? So newsflash, your adult children are running their own lives, not the one that you want them to run. They're running their own life. I think the greatest gift we have as humans is our sovereign agency. Next to life itself, it's the power to direct that life. And that awkward transition sometimes from controlling to being curious. But this opens up a new possibility for you. So that's my first suggestion. Be curious, not controlling. Mel Robbins, who is a brilliant speaker and author, wrote a book called Let Them, or The Let Them Theory. You might want to go look that up. Her concept is so simple but so profound. You're going to let them do their life, and you get to observe. Now, because you love them, you're going to have opinions about what they're doing. And your opinions are kind of irrelevant at this point. Be curious, not controlling. I remember one mom I was working with who just in desperation, she almost threw up her hands and she says, well, what am I supposed to do? Just let them fail? And I'm like, what do you mean, let them? And this is kind of curious about Mel Robbins' book and her title because let them implies that maybe we have something to say about it. And even if we have something to say about it, do we control it? What do you mean, let them? They're going to do whatever they're going to do. You get to observe it. So let them is more of a message to our own mind and heart, to detach from that. Detach from the outcomes. Let's focus on that as its own point for a moment. Detach from the outcomes. And this doesn't mean you detach from your kids. It means you detach from the outcomes of whatever choices they're making. Your job as a parent hasn't changed when your kids become adults. Your job, if you've watched this channel at all before you've heard me say, your job is to love them. No matter what, and even if. Now, we can play the even if game all day long. Well, even if they fail? Yes. Even if they go to jail? Yes. Even if they marry someone you don't approve of? Yes. Even if, and maybe especially when. Your relationship, your connection to your adult children is more important than whatever rules you've made up in your head about how they should run their life. And it's going to be different. So going back to our first point, can you be curious about that? You know, my friend Brett Harward wrote a book called The 5 Laws That Determine All of Life's Outcomes. That's a bold title. But Brett told me this. He said sometimes when he sees his adult kids or someone that he's worked with that's making choices that he doesn't approve of or he doesn't agree with, he'll respond in this way. He'll say, you know, when I found out you were doing this, I thought that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard of. But then I remembered that you are a brilliant, good person. So I must be missing something. Help me out. What am I missing? In true curiosity, not in sarcasm. Now, I don't know that all of us can get away with saying it that way. Brett's personality probably allows that. But can you take that kind of an approach where your initial gut response is to judge your adult kids for whatever life choices they're making? What if you could just back off from that, let them, and be curious, not controlling? Where you remember, wait, this is a good person who wants good things for themselves and others. And think about it, that's really true of your kids, isn't it? Your adult kids. And so if you don't understand or agree with what they're doing, maybe that's a time for you to just sit back a little bit and say, wait a minute, I must be missing something. I need to be more curious and less controlling. Our peace does not depend on their performance or choices. Can I say that again? Our peace does not depend on their performance. Your role as a parent is not to shape your adult child's life or to make sure that they anything. That's their job. Your job is to love them, no matter what and even if. Do you feel just a little bit of relief when I say that? Can you let go of the need to make sure that they anything and simply settle into that loving observer role? You get to become a fan, someone who's going to watch from the sidelines and cheer them on in a sport that you're not even familiar with. When we can take that approach, the relationship becomes more important than the rules. And that's a shift in our thinking as parents. I've got a way for you to connect a little more closely to this model that I briefly introduced at the beginning of the meeting. It's a free positive parenting web class that I invite you to come to this as my guest. Go to the URL on the screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/parenting, and you will be able to jump in at a little deeper level to understand the stages model that I had already offered to you, and also to think through, okay, what does this mean in my new role as a parent to adults? I think you're going to really like it.